Williams on North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9, wdun.
And we're back with the afternoon news wrap. It is 6:44, 16 minutes away from the top of the hour and the end of our first show.
We've almost made it.
Yeah, we have.
It's almost there.
Then we're going to talk about divorce.
Mm-hmm. On the first day of our show.
Yes.
We are talking about divorce. BJ, I don't have kids yet. I'm already a little bit worried about a game plan for paying for college, or at least trying to, and how to go about handling that. But figuring out college finances is a difficult thing for couples that are together. What about couples that are going through a divorce? How in the world does a couple going through a divorce, or maybe they've already gone through one, put together a game plan for their kids? Who pays? How much do they pay? There's so many layers of complication in this. John Rotenberg is an attorney with the HR team in Atlanta, and he joins us now on the afternoon news wrap for a little bit more insight on this. John, great to have you with us today. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
John, what's a starting point? I mean, does it depend on how old your kids are, I guess, at the time you divorce, or what do you do? Where do you even start if you're in this situation?
Well, the age of the children at the time of the divorce is an important point. If the children are older, say 16, 17, and their college is in the very near future, that may be an appropriate time to have an agreement that addresses paying for college. The most important point is that a court can't order parties to pay for college. So this has to be done by agreement if they're getting divorced. So like I said, if they're 16 or 17 and college is imminent, and they know the child or children are going to college and they have the resources to pay for college, that's a good time to have an agreement. But if they're much younger and there is a long time that's going to pass before the children go to college, it's often not wise. It's usually not wise, in my opinion, to have an agreement where the parties are actually paying for college, and you just leave it sort of an open field and handle it as the children get older and are ready for college.
How often does this happen where the college fund will slip through the cracks when it comes to a divorce case? Is this an issue that you see a lot of where couples miss this?
I don't think they miss it necessarily, but like I said, because the court cannot order college, it's often the attorneys themselves will recommend to the parents, look, it's wonderful that you want to pay for college. It's a moral obligation. It's great that you feel this obligation, and I wish you the best. However, let's not transform this obligation that you feel morally into a contractual obligation that the other party, who you will then be divorced from, can enforce in a court of law.
If there is a college fund already set up for the children prior to the divorce, is that something that's enforceable? In other words, the divorcing couple, can they say, well, so sorry, we can't afford college now. We're going to take this money and disperse it between us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we a lot of cases, people will have 529 plans or similar accounts, and those will be assets that are considered and commented upon in any settlement agreement. So what you would do in that case is say, okay, there's this 529 account. It's in mom's name, or it's in dad's name, or it's in both names, or two accounts in each of their names. And you'll say those accounts will not be depleted. They will only be used to send the child or children to college. And sometimes that's it. Sometimes if the parties are fortunate enough in their financial situation to have additional income after the divorce that can be earmarked for a 529, and the parties are comfortable doing so, you can say each party shall contribute X amount of dollars to the 529 on a monthly or annual basis. And so that's one way to fund college, or at least to fund an account that can be used for college down the road.
Again, if you're just joining us here, folks, we're talking to John Rotenberg. He's an attorney with the Atlanta legal team of Hedgepeth, Heredia, and Ryder in Atlanta. Did I say that right, John?
Hedgepeth, Heredia, and Reeder.
Reeder, I was close. Okay. I wanted to ask you this. You wrote a blog online about this recently, and that's the issue of divorce and paying for college. You said that it's important to have some limitations. What do you mean?
There's several limitations that we would put in if the parties do agree to pay for college. And to be clear, you can have one party who agrees to pay all. You can have the parties agree to pay half. There's any number of different scenarios you can put on paper when you're drafting one of these agreements. But as far as limitations, the major one, and the one I see in almost all settlement agreements that address this issue, is the cost of college. And so what you typically would see is language along the lines of the parties shall each be responsible for one half of the children's college expenses, and then each party's expenses shall be limited to the then current in-state tuition for the University of Georgia. So you don't have a situation where you say, oh yeah, I'm going to send my 5-year-old to college 13 years from now, and everything's going to be great. And as we all know, college is expensive and keeps getting more expensive. And all of a sudden you're on the hook for something like Harvard or Yale.
Oh, wow.
And you're paying, $35,000, $40,000 a year, and that's just half of college. So UGA Athens is sort of the typical benchmark that we use.
Wow.
We also have age limitations. You don't want to pay for a 30-year-old to go to college, absent some other circumstances. So you would say this obligation shall cease at the end of either 4 years of college or the age of, let's say, 23. So you have the obligation cease at that time. You can also have a grade point average restriction. So the child must maintain a 3.0 average for this obligation to continue.
Yeah, that sounds like something that my parents had anyway when I went to college. And if you weren't meeting the GPA, and they weren't divorced, so yeah, I can imagine. So wow, what a prickly situation, and something that no couple wants to go through, but most certainly something to think about, especially if couples out there are going through a divorce as we speak, and they're worried about their children's future with college. Most certainly want to get together there with the team at HHR down in Atlanta. Tom, thank you so much for providing a little insight on a question that I've never really given much thought to. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. No, we appreciate your time here today. Wow, 10 minutes until 7 o'clock. That's a prickly thing there, BJ. Something that I can't imagine going through, let alone as a married couple, but going through a divorce too. Wow, that's tough.
Yeah, sounds like there's a lot of planning.
Yeah.
There's always a lot of planning that has to be done. We were very fortunate with our oldest daughter. We did have a 529 plan, but then she was on the Zell Miller Scholarship, so that certainly helps. And then our youngest daughter went to college for a couple of years, and we were able to pay for that out of pocket. So, it takes some planning, though.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I was trying to come up with something what I'm gonna do with my kids. I have no idea though. I'm gonna find some money somewhere. Well,
and it doesn't hurt for them to pay for a few things on their own either. Have a job, and certainly, the great blessing was they both have come out of it debt free.
Yeah,
and I paid a college loan back for 10 years. So.
Yeah, that's a rare thing. All right. Get more information there at the team of Hedgepeth, Heredia, and Reader down in Atlanta on that. Coming up on 7.